Right now, without realizing it, you are lying to yourself. Not about small things, about who you are. Every single person carries a version of themselves in their head that is edited, flattering, and in some places, simply false. And here's the unsettling twist. The people who are most confident they see themselves clearly are usually the ones fooling themselves the most. This isn't a character flaw, it's built into the human brain. Today, we're going to expose the hidden ways your mind deceives you, and why, strangely, some of these lies might be keeping you alive. Let's start with the big one, the effect that quietly touches almost everyone watching this. It's called illusory superiority, and it shows up in one famous, almost comical finding. When you ask people to rate their own driving, around 90% say they're above average, which is mathematically impossible. Half of all drivers are, by definition, below average. The same thing happens when you ask people to rate their intelligence, their honesty, their sense of humor, their ability to get along with others. Most people place themselves comfortably in the top half. We are, as a species, wildly, systematically overconfident about ourselves. Psychologists sometimes call it the better-than-average effect, and almost nobody is immune. But it gets sharper and more useful with a specific version you've probably heard of, the Dunning-Kruger effect. Researchers David Dunning and Justin Kruger discovered something remarkable. The people who are worst at a skill are often the most confident about it. Why? Because the very knowledge you'd need to recognize you're bad at something is the same knowledge you're missing. If you don't know the rules of good grammar, you also can't tell that your grammar is poor. Your incompetence hides itself from you. Meanwhile, and this is the flip side people forget, genuine experts often underestimate themselves because they're painfully aware of everything they still don't know. So the loudest, most certain voice in the room is frequently the least informed, and the quiet, hesitant one may know the most. Now here's where it turns personal. Your brain doesn't just inflate your abilities, it rewrites your past. Memory feels like a video recording. It isn't. It's more like a story your brain rewrites every time you recall it, and it edits that story to protect you. Psychologists have shown that we systematically remember ourselves as more generous, more principled, more central to good events than we actually were. We remember our victories in high definition and let our failures quietly blur. We recall the argument we won and forget the one where we were cruel. This isn't lying in the ordinary sense. You genuinely believe the edited version. Your brain is both the forger and the fooled. And there's a specific mechanism doing a lot of this work. It's called the self-serving bias. When something goes well, we credit ourselves. I aced the exam because I'm smart and I worked hard. When something goes badly, we blame the outside world. I failed because the test was unfair, the teacher had it out for me, the timing was terrible. Success? That was me. Failure? That was circumstances. Flip it around and watch how we judge others, and the bias reverses perfectly. When they succeed, they got lucky. When they fail, well, that's just who they are. Same events, opposite explanations, all bent to keep you the hero of your own story. So why would evolution build a brain that lies to its owner? It seems like a terrible design. Wouldn't we make better decisions if we saw ourselves accurately? Here's the fascinating answer. To a point, the lies help you. Psychologists have found that people with mild positive illusions about themselves tend to be happier, more motivated, more resilient, and even physically healthier than people who see themselves with brutal accuracy. There's a striking finding here. Mildly depressed people are sometimes more realistic about their abilities and their control over events than happy people are. It's been called depressive realism. The comfortable illusion of being a bit better, a bit more in control than you truly are, is part of what gets you out of bed, gives you the nerve to try, and helps you bounce back when you fail. A perfectly accurate view of your odds might just be paralyzing. But, and this is the crucial but, the same illusions that lift you up can also wreck you when they run unchecked. The overconfidence that helps you try also stops you from listening to feedback. The self-serving bias that protects your mood also blocks you from learning from your mistakes because you never admit you made any. The edited memory that keeps you kind to yourself also lets you repeat the same errors, blind to your role in them. Comfortable lies feel good and keep you stuck. So how do you get the benefits without the blindness? You can't turn these biases off, but you can outsmart them. First, actively seek the feedback your brain is hiding from you. Since you cannot see your own blind spots by definition, you need outside mirrors. Ask people you trust the uncomfortable question, what's something I do that I don't see? Then, and this is the hard part, don't defend. Just listen. The information that stings the most is usually the information you needed the most. Second, keep an honest record. Because memory edits itself, write things down while they're fresh. Decisions, predictions, what you were actually thinking at the time. When you look back at your real words instead of your rewritten memory, you meet your actual self, not the flattering forgery. It's humbling, and it's the fastest way to genuinely improve. Third, when you fail, force yourself to ask one question before blaming the world. What's my part in this? You don't have to be brutal with yourself. That just flips you into the opposite trap. Just honest. The single sentence, "What could I have done differently?" quietly disarms the self-serving bias and turns every failure into something you can actually use. Here's the truth to sit with. You are not the person you think you are. You're both better and worse in ways you can't fully see. The goal isn't to tear down every comforting illusion and stare into some harsh, joyless accuracy. It's to keep the illusions that help you move and puncture the ones that keep you blind. Confidence to act, humility to learn. The trick is holding both at once. So this week, ask one person you trust that uncomfortable question. What do I not see about myself? And just listen to the answer. It might be the most useful thing you hear all year. If this made you curious about the person you actually are, there's a whole playlist of these waiting for you. I'll see you in the next one.